It was a day to celebrate for Fish and Wildlife in the city of Tacoma and Nisqually tribe, the United States Army. It's a very unique hatchery. A uniqueness meaning, I guess, that the Army's involved and Fish and Wildlife Service, the Nisqually tribe, the operating money that was going to come about by the city of Tacoma, and is all in place from now on. And it's through an agreement between the Nisqually tribe and city of Tacoma, Fish and Wildlife, and the Army. And it's all a very unique thing that took place over the last 10 years, in as far as going back to 1978, maybe, when it started in Congress, and then through feasibility, and then on up until today. And it's very unique because Dorian was there, and myself was there, and Bill was there, and so it's very unique how we continued to hang on and bring that thing forward. And not for just the tribe or for Fish and Wildlife or the Army, but for everybody in our local area as well as our region. And it reaches out into the U.S.-Canada Salmon Treaty. It's a model for what's happening in endangered species in Columbia River and the Snake River right now. And I think that in time it'll show how that will be up to full production next year, or this year, but how it'll affect the wild salmon and the artificial stock working together to make it happen in an estuary plan in 1991. We can't go back to 1900. We gotta look at what we have in front of us today and how it takes everybody to work together.
Sure. Dorian, why don't you tell us a little bit about the hatchery, kind of maybe where it's located and what it looks like?
Essentially, the hatchery's up from the delta, and it's on the Fort Lewis side, actually. The Fort Lewis side, which used to be the Nisqually Reservation side at one time, but the reservation had moved from the Pierce County side around the First World War, and is now in Thurston County. And through a cooperative agreement, it was set up on the Fort Lewis side and is totally, within Fort Lewis itself, and bounds. And just a comment on the cooperative effort Billy mentioned earlier, that it started around 77, 78. Some of the players changed, but since the start of the hatchery project, there's never been a let-up on completing this project. Even though I'd left for as chairman, and Billy's been in and out, and everybody at the tribe had carried this forward to completion. So,
Bill, I know the U.S. Fish and Wildlife has been here for some time. I know the hatchery sits there because of some efforts that was put in by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
Well, as Billy said, it was a cooperative effort, and when Billy and the tribe came to the Fish and Wildlife Service with this idea, we supported it and worked with them through the appropriation process in U.S. Congress to begin monies for feasibility studies. We went through that phase and eventually received appropriations to begin the design and then the actual construction. So it took quite a long period of time and a tremendous effort on everybody's part to keep the interest maintained at the highest levels in our organization and Congress as well to finally see this hatchery completed. And I think the Salmon really exemplifies that cooperative effort, and I've been to a lot of hatchery dedications, and this is by far the finest celebration that I have ever been to. My hats are off to you folks, Billy, and the celebration that you put on, and it really illustrates what good cooperation can accomplish.
We were at the celebration. It was absolutely exciting to see those people come there, but yet understanding that there was more to it than just a celebration, that the processes that this whole thing took. Billy, leadership was important in this whole process, wasn't it?
Yeah, you can't do anything in any of this without the leadership. And, it goes back to the leadership of Norm Dix, the congressman that kind of led everything in that level. It goes back to the leadership of Fish and Wildlife and how we had to, there's a lot of things had to come together. Goes back to the leadership of our chairman of the tribe and as Dorian said, other chairmen and other officials within the tribe, and how they continued to keep that all going. And all of us, the U.S.-Canada Salmon Treaty that specifically pointed out this particular project that was going to be online, and how the leadership of City of Tacoma brought all of this together, and the tribe brought that agreement together. As all of it from way back in the 77, 78, it just was pointed the right direction, and the leadership brought it to where it is today in a final solution of other agreements and different other things that was coming together. And here we are today with a hatchery in South Sound, where we're all located right here, will particularly benefit for Chinook salmon, coho salmon, and hopefully spring salmon will introduce back to our watershed. You know.
And I'd get back to the leadership just a bit. You know, the process took so long. It was the leadership, you know, of the tribe and of U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, you know, to get up to the date of dedication where actually people could see the result. But during that whole course of the time, the leadership of the tribe had to explain to its, you know, its membership that, yeah, we're going for this, and they're wanting results. You know, that was the result. They could see it, and you know, we talked, you know, verbal and paper and drawings, and which, you know, that's all good, but the actual result was quite an accomplishment.
I think too that in addition to leadership, there was a vision there. You know, management of Pacific salmon is not an easy task. They're international in nature. Fish that leave the Sound and go clear to Alaska and are intercepted by Alaskan fishermen and Canadian fishermen, and there's a lot of demand. They're very high economic value, and you have to have a vision to see how a facility like this can provide for mitigation for fishes that were lost because of development in the basin, and how does this whole project fit into the larger picture of management of Pacific salmon in the Northwest. And I really have to compliment Billy and the Nisqually tribe, because I think they've had that vision from the beginning, and this has been a long-term goal of theirs, and they've achieved this part of it. There's still a lot of work left to do. I think all of us recognize that, but it's quite an accomplishment.
Billy, upstream, if you don't mind, there are two dams. There's the Alder and the La Grande, if I understand right. And that's where Tacoma City Light kind of gets involved here, am I right?
Mm-hmm. And they're on the 40 mile of the Nisqually watershed, and there's a lot of far-reaching things, as Dorian and Bill has mentioned, as far as the city of Tacoma. But you take the people on this, the Weyerhaeuser Timber Company, the wildlife community, I call, and setting the goal for the protection of that watershed, and the animals and the different other species that are in place on our watershed, and the people working with the people of this watershed, and the Nisqually tribe as a leader leading the direction of where we're going to go in the next years as a plan for that watershed. To take into account of the animals, the mitigation the city of Tacoma is involved in, buying up particular parcels of land, how Weyerhaeuser fits into that, DNR fits into that, state of Washington, the Wildlife Department, and all the agencies of the state, how they fit in, the people that are landowners into the watershed, make them feel good about what we're doing as far as planning for the future on that watershed. I think it's a very positive step for all of us to participate in, and as the the licensing for them dams come up, that how we can work together to make things happen, and it just it's a very happy time for the Nisqually tribe and the participants to see the future of the future into 1990 and beyond. You know.
Dorian, one of the things that I got excited about, and that is that the tribe's running the hatchery.
Oh, and that was, long-term goal. And it's not our only hatchery. We have another hatchery across the river, so we're experienced at it, and more experienced at catching fish. But the hatchery is, a really good project, and it's our employees that are running this hatchery, and through the cooperative of Fish and Wildlife. So we're quite happy about it.
This is a real unusual situation. Fish and Wildlife Service owns a lot of hatcheries nationally, and we run and operate those hatcheries with our employees. This particular hatchery is unique in that while we own the hatchery, it belongs to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. It's on military property, and it is completely operated by the Nisqually tribe. So, real unique type of a situation, and we have no doubt that the tribe is going to do a wonderful job running it, and we're looking forward to the results.
This is actually one of the first hatcheries, if I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but one of the first hatcheries that has really come about because of that treaty that was signed back in 1985. Am I correct?
Well, the uniqueness of this hatchery is that when the tribe, the United States, to ask them to build a hatchery, well, then they said, we might give you construction money to the hatchery, but we're not going to give you any operating money for this hatchery. I mean, we don't do that anymore, and that was 1980. The Fish and Wildlife, and there was no more hatcheries being built in the United States. And so we, the Nisqually tribe, went to them with a plan, along with Fish and Wildlife, that we're going to build a hatchery, and the Nisqually tribe and the city of Tacoma would put the operating package together. And that's what come about, and it all come together. And the United States government was glad to build a hatchery in that specific area, and the tribe got the agreement with the United States Army through, it goes way back to when the Army took the land over there, and it goes back to the relationship of the Army and the tribe, how it come about, and then just everything kind of fell in place. And it don't ever give up is the exact word. Don't ever give up. It's a piece of a big puzzle that's right. In fisheries management. One thing in common that we all had in common was the resource and how it was going to be here from now on.
Dorian, what would be one of the most things that you felt were important in the whole process with all the other entities involved?
A positive attitude is what was important, and there were a lot of hurdles, and it was no easy job, and just keeping at it. The funding was not appropriated in big one lump sum. It was over a 10-year period, and so you're getting a piece here, and maybe frustrating, but you kept right at it. So.
Bill?
Yeah, you need to understand that this was developed in a time of reduced federal budget. So, as Dorian said, you had to have a positive attitude. You had to really believe in the need for the hatchery, and just continuously sell the advantages of this type of a program. And I also think that out of this whole process, we developed a tremendous respect and some real friendships through the whole entire process.
Billy, if I use the words win-win relationship, would you emphasize on that?
Well, I think that there's a new time coming now where the state of Washington and the tribes are working together. The tribes in itself, all of the tribes that we represent within Northwestern Fish Commission, which is the army of the tribes, how they can work together, and how we can start allocating fish back to each other in our different areas. how the state of Washington and the attitude of the governors, the past governor and the governor here today, Booth Gardner, and how all of the agencies now are starting to work with the tribes and the local governments, the cities and the local governments are working together. These are things that we've never seen in our time before, but now they're coming forward. We have to do that. We have to work together, and that's the most positive thing that I see on the horizon right now. If we can keep going, and the leadership out here to take a hold of our own destiny and not put it in the hands of the courts or the legislature or anything, but we can work, the people and the agencies and the tribes and the federal government can work together for the future. That's a big positive.
And so far to go. That's the exciting thing, and that you're willing to take the effort to put it all together. Dorian, the hatchery again. At the hatchery, what's basically there?
It's a little bit, you know, it's like any other hatchery. There's ponds, facilities.
But I'll tell you what, it's beautiful.
Yeah, but it's not like it's not all concrete. It's, if you take a look at it, and I'm sure you know, people have seen it and will see it as a result of this program, it is about as natural as you can get. And put any hatchery into that's man-made, but it is quite a facility.
Yeah, I think that was one of the most amazing things when we drove down the hill there on the reservation and came in and saw that. You know, it's almost like it was absolutely, like you said, it's totally natural and has the raceways there and the great big ponds even before you even see the building. I mean, it's just...
And they fit. I mean, they seem like they belong there, and that's pretty hard to do. And I think the firm, the construction firm, the architectural firm, and the design did. It's pretty breathtaking, I think. So.
How many eggs can the egg incubation room handle?
You know, we can. I think the max was up to around 15 million, but the production is at about 10 or 11 million. Yeah. So. And,
the uniqueness of is the gravity flow. There's no electricity involved. Water. You know, it just like Dorian saying, it just like you said, as you come down that hill, it's spread out for a mile and up the watershed, and it's just very unique. The water is blue and pure, and it's just the people that didn't go to the dedication that now hear about it. They want a special trip down there to the site.
Yeah, and Billy, this isn't, and let's talk about that for just a minute, if you don't mind, just to clarify that this is not an open hatchery. Talk about that just real quick, if you don't mind.
Well, it's not, whereas the public access to all hatcheries throughout the nation or in the state of Washington, this is a unique hatchery where it doesn't have access because it's on the military side of the reservation, and the Army has a mission, and their mission is not to allow civilians on, it's fenced in and so on.
Sure.
And they have the security for that hatchery. We do, the tribe and Fish and Wildlife, we do special things in the area for the public as far as very unique. We don't have public coming and going in that particular hatchery site.
And just to emphasize, it is next to the impact area at Fort Lewis. So
right.
Don't need the public wandering around out there, so it's secure.
Let's talk about enhancement. Why build a hatchery? It's there. It's going to produce. Let's talk about who's going to benefit from the whole program. Go ahead, Bill. Why don't you take the lead on
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the beneficiaries of a hatchery production will be the fishermen internationally, from Alaska down through the Puget Sound. And by that I mean all fishermen, commercial fishermen, tribal fishermen, and sport fishermen. They'll all from the fish that will be raised in that facility. In addition, there'll be an escapement back to the hatchery that will provide for coming generations of fishes. Also, the preservation of the riparian area will facilitate the enhancement of wild stocks spawning in the Nisqually River and the tributaries, and all of these will have benefits as well to the fishermen.
I think the tribe itself will benefit, our fishermen and our people that smoke salmon and use the salmon in their cultural and religious ways will benefit we'll get more salmon back into our diet as we continue down in the next 5 generations, and there'll be stability in that watershed within the Nisqually tribe for our membership and other tribes, and hopefully we always share with other tribes. We always share with the state of Washington and all the citizens. So I think they're the ones that's going to benefit. The marinas are going to benefit, and I think our economy throughout the whole region is going to benefit from here to Alaska. So.
We're all going to benefit, no matter who we are,
It's
because of what
very
you're doing.
positive, beautiful.
Great.
And I think that the spin-off on everybody who benefits was the spin-off. My primary concern was, the benefit to the tribe, but, that being what we were looking at in the first place, it benefits everybody else. It's just, a very positive thing. So.
Good. Well, as usual, such a dynamite subject, time's got away from us. Dorian, take about 30 seconds or so, and just say one thing that you think either you want the people of this county to understand or what you felt was the most important thing with the project.
I think the most important thing of the project is that the tribe itself seen the need for the hatchery, and on its own initiative started the project, from start to finish, along with the assistance of everybody involved. As I mentioned earlier, the long-range benefit is now we got the hatchery. Now it's preserving the watershed that's feeding that hatchery. So,
good, Bill.
And I think that I second what Dorian's saying and what's been said here today. But I think that working together and for the future is the most important thing. The tribes throughout all of our areas can be part of that if the Washington and the people will allow that to happen. The tribes can be a leader in leading wherever direction we want to go in. And the resource benefits so very much in this.
Bill.
I think this project exemplifies cooperative management. I think it illustrates how a whole group of diverse interests can work together and solve a problem with a lot of benefits to be had by everyone.
Well, I just thank you all for being here, because I know that it was a coming together of groups of people. It took dynamite leadership to pull it off. It took a lot of time and a lot of effort on a lot of individuals, and most of you are in this room today. So I guess I'd just like to thank you kindly as a landowner of this county, and particularly thank you for the effort that was put forth in the entire progress, and we hope that other agencies, we can all come together, like Billy says, and work for future things on down the road. So for Dorian and Bill, I'd like to thank you kindly, and you and your family have a very, very good day. And thank you.
Enjoyed it. That's great.